Demon Realm. An elderly subject could be seen watching everything from a magic sphere. Seeing how Cell was about to fight 4 humans, then it would change, and he would see 2 children fighting the subject that Son Goku finished off a few months ago. Then he would see 2 pink subjects fighting evenly in a battle of magic and brute strength. On the other hand, he would see a bald subject meeting a subject with huge hair, but since they were not fighting, he would not be interested. Shortly after, he would watch a green subject, who was an adult Namekian, go to attack another Namekian, who only had a look of contempt. Then it would change to the main fight where Broly in his legendary Super Saiyan form was fighting Goku, and Vegeta Zeno Super Saiyan 4 having an even match. Getting somewhat worried because seeing the Time Patrol meant they already knew something of his intentions so quickly, and finally he would see the last scene, which was Towa and Dabura in front of Capsule Corporation, where the target was with 0 protection. Mechakabura said, "If everything goes well, my plan will be perfect." Earth. Goten and Trunks could be seen having an even fight against the blue-skinned and orange-haired subject having an even match, until after a few moments the subject grabbed them by the head, making them crash into each other. Immediately after, he threw them meters away, while screaming in anger. Trunks rubbed his head. "Ouch, that guy already annoys me." Goten rubbed his head. "Me too, let us increase our power more." The blue-haired boy nodded, and both hybrid Saiyans increased their power to the maximum, going against the subject, who between the 2 of them received a double kick to the stomach, sending him very far away. In a more desolate place, a tall green subject with spots could be seen. It was Cell, who only watched as Krillin, Tien Shinhan, and Yamcha went against him, while the only woman, who was Android 18, was still in shock from reliving that trauma she experienced many years ago. Krillin quickly showing heroism so his wife could help through a pair of destructo discs, which the bio-android destroyed with his hand. From a few meters away, Yamcha used the Wolfang Fist, attacking Cell, doing no damage, but still not stopping his attempts. Tien Shinhan from above brought his hands together, just like 10 years ago, preparing the same attack that stopped the subject in front of him in his semi-perfect form. Tien could only use his tri-beam, creating a gigantic light heading towards the bio-android monster, creating an explosion in the place. Piccolo could be seen dodging Daimaku in a very martial way, leaving his father in humiliation as he could not even land a single blow. Daimaku threw punches. "Why can I not hit you?" At that moment, the younger Namekian stopped the punch of Daimaku with one hand, squeezing it. Piccolo said, "Because you are weak, old, and evil, and I am the exact opposite. I have mastered my powers to such a point that you are a simple ant next to me." The younger Namekian gave a restrained punch to the face of the older Namekian, sending him meters away with purple blood coming out of his nose. 2 subjects who apparently knew each other could be seen looking at each other closely. They were Nappa and another Saiyan with huge long hair. Nappa said, "Raditz, what is going on here? Did you come back to life too?" Raditz said, "No idea, but the first thing I want to do is go attack that Namekian who killed me. Besides settling the score with my younger brother, I will have to finish off his brat for not listening to me." Nappa said, "You will not be able to. He is stronger than you." Raditz said, "What? But I have a higher fighting power. My scouter said so." Nappa said, "He can raise and lower it whenever he wants. Right now he must have a fighting level of around 8,000. Raditz said, "It does not matter. I will finish off some humans then so he understands." Nappa said, "Have fun. I will go get my revenge on Vegeta. I was always there for him, and this is how he repaid me. Now that I have this opportunity, I will not waste it." At that point, both paths divided, and one went towards a city, while the other went to where the loud crashing blows were felt. Kid Buu could be seen having a slight advantage over Majin Buu, who was upset, remembering all the blows he received a few years ago. Majin Buu fired a beam. "You are mean. Turn into chocolate." Then Kid Buu dodged it and landed some blows all over the body of the good Majin Buu, who was having a hard time winning. Kid Buu grabbed the upper part of Majin Buu and used him as a punching bag, and starting to spin, he threw him far away, causing a smoke screen which only made Kid Buu celebrate like a wild animal while shouting in the same way. A gigantic explosion could be seen, revealing 3 subjects fighting. Goku Zeno, in a Super Saiyan phase never seen before in this reality, kicked the subject previously named as Broly in the back. Vegeta Zeno, who also had the same phase, fired a point-blank final flash at the green-haired subject. After a smoke screen, Broly grabbed both of their heads, smashing them against the ground. Once they were in pain on the ground, the tall subject charged an attack with both hands above his head with intentions of finishing them off. But Gohan in his ultimate state grabbed him by the neck, and Vegeta in Super Saiyan Blue Evolution destroyed the attack he was charging, and then hit him directly in the forehead with both hands without him being able to defend himself. This caused him damage because the blow was to the head, without being able to cover himself, and being stunned. Both Goku and Vegeta from an unknown place punched Broly in the jaw, making him fall painfully on his back to the ground, unable to move momentarily. Vegeta said, "Who are you insects?" Goku Zeno went to his base state. "I am Son Goku." Vegeta Zeno went to his base state. "I am Vegeta the Fourth." The blue-haired Saiyan prince was very surprised, because there was another one of him, and of Son. Vegeta went to his base state. "What? But how?" Vegeta Zeno said, "We are from the Time Patrol. We received news that the Makaishin Mechikabura is looking for something specifically on this planet, so we came to help." Goku Zeno said, "We still do not know exactly what it is, but they are not the only ones. We have to find Towa." Vegeta said, "TCH. I do not know who they are, but we have to finish off this guy. What kind of things could they be looking for?" Goku Zeno said, "We believe it is a power, knowing that he wants a powerful bishop in his ranks. That is all we know." Vegeta said, "Power. Power. Daughter 21. That brat has had gigantic power since birth. They are surely coming for her, and she is with my wife. I have to go immediately." He prepared to fly. Before leaving at full speed, the prince was stopped because Broly, who was still conscious, threw key spheres at them, which they narrowly dodged. Vegeta Zeno said, "Kakarot, you go get the girl. You will arrive faster with your instant transmission." Goku Zeno said, "Yes. You guys take care of this. As soon as I finish I will come help." The Goku from an unknown place placed his 2 fingers on his forehead, searching for the key to go to Capsule Corporation. But a green key sphere could be seen heading towards him, which was destroyed before impact by Masenko from Gohan. The Goku Zeno only gave him a smile as a sign of thanks before disappearing from that place. Gohan looked confused. "To Mr. Vegetus." Vegeta pointed at Broly. "This is not the time for questions, insect. We have to finish off that guy." Both Vegetus increased their maximum power, returning to their final transformations. Gohan remained confused. "Now I know which one is the Mr. Vegeta I know." Then Broly shouted, bringing out even more latent power, going against the Saiyan trio, who went against him at their maximum powers, causing a shockwave after their fists connected. Dabura could be seen humiliating Kibito, who was very weak compared to him. This demon was punching him in the face, and finally threw him to the ground. Meters away, the old Kai could be seen drooling a little due to the beauty of the demon, who was very sexy and beautiful. Old Kai said, "Why do you not stop doing evil things, and go on a date with me?" The demon merely kicked him with her heels, making the Supreme Being fall in pain while groaning from the impact. Old Kai cried with comical pain, "Your loss." The demon Towa walked to the door of Capsule Corporation, while Dabura drew his sword with the intention of stabbing Kibito, who was on the ground. But his sword was stopped by a hand whose face he knew perfectly upon seeing it. Dabura said, "You." Then he became angrier upon seeing that face, and tried to punch him. But the subject kicked him, making him fall to the ground in great pain. He helped Kibito up, extending his hand, which he accepted somewhat confused. Kibito said, "Son Goku." Goku Zeno said, "Yes and no. We will talk about that later. We have to stop these demons from completing their plan." Kibito quickly nodded, and seeing old Kai on the ground, went to help and heal him because the blow in that state was brutal. Goku Zeno said, "Demon Towa." The Saiyan spoke, and upon saying it out loud she heard it stopping in her tracks, and turning around. Towa said, "Time Patroller. What do you want?" Goku Zeno said, "We have discovered your plans. Today you will be imprisoned for your actions, so come with me." Towa said, "Excuse me, but you are not my type. I am more attracted to divine power. I am sorry." The demon continued walking inside the corporation to carry out her plan, but the Saiyan went to strike her to prevent that. Upon managing to land the blow, he noticed that she easily stopped his punch with her hand. He was very amazed, while the demon only gave a confident smile. Towa said, "I have become much stronger Saiyan." With a magic-enhanced blow she sent him flying far away, because she stunned him with the hit to the face. Towa said, "Dabura, are you coming or staying?" The demon, who was getting up from the blow, simply went with her, entering the Capsule Corporation. Seeing nobody, everything was apparently empty. Towa said, "They must be hiding on the other side of this place." They both walked inside and went out to the patio, which was quite large. After a few steps, some robots with the Capsule Corporation logo came out from all angles, pointing at both of them. When they charged, they fired beams, but they were not normal. They were piercing key beams, which only the demon noticed, putting a magic key shield on her body to walk as if nothing happened, while all the beams fell and pierced the body of Dabura, making him fall to the ground, spitting blood, remaining almost motionless. Then Towa, being in the middle of the large patio, used her staff to lift all the dirt without reaching the corporation building, and thus, after doing so, she saw a capsule made of kachin, which is the hardest material in the universe, fall to the ground in front of her. Using her magic, she made the kachin material transparent, seeing that 4 beings were inside. It was the owner of Capsule Corporation, a little girl, a short adult man, and a woman with yellow hair. She saw a woman outside looking at them with unkind intentions. Bulma said, "Damn it, she found us." The scientist pressed some buttons on a controller she had, and thus a ship appeared beneath their feet, releasing a massive propulsion with intentions of leaving. But again, using the staff, Towa made the ship unable to move, and thus destroyed it, causing the 4 of them to fall. But before Bulma fell on her stomach, someone saved her. It was a subject with huge black hair and black fur on his torso and body. Bulma opened her eyes and saw him carrying her while holding a scared Violetta in his other arm. He slowly put them down while both were scared. Bulma said, "Who are you?" Goku Zeno said, "It does not matter right now. Leave." Disregarding everything, she saw her parents getting up somewhat hurt, so she carried Violetta and started running with them. Towa said, "Always interfering with my plans." Goku Zeno said, "Today is your final sentence." The Saiyan went at full speed against Towa, trying to finish her quickly, but was paralyzed by her using her staff, which was immensely powered up by mastering magic. The demon stepped a little closer, grabbing his face by the jaw and speaking to him. Towa said, "You cannot defeat me. I came prepared." The demon stepped back a little and made a movement with her staff, taking on a transformation and design different from her usual state. Towa said, "I am not a fan of transformations that change in appearance so much, but with this and my magic, it will be enough to annihilate you." The Saiyan could not move because the demon paralyzed him with her staff. She just went close to him again, shooting a beam, causing great pain to Goku Zeno, who could not move. The demon continued torturing the Time Patroller's revenge for all her failed plans due to his fault. Goten and Trunks could be seen somewhat hurt, because they had been at a disadvantage since that subject did not seem to get tired. Instead, since they were not in full shape, they were losing energy and stamina, until they looked at each other and tried to distract the subject by flying around him. He tried to grab them, but they used their maximum power to avoid being caught, and once he lost sight of them, they prepared a maximum power attack, hitting him directly. Once hitting him directly, a large explosion was seen, showing that the subject was still alive, but now hurt. Trunks said, "Damn, he is still alive, and we are out of energy." Goten said, "What do we do now, Trunks?" Trunks said, "Let us do the fusion. That way we will finish quickly to go fight with the others." Goten said, "Very well, let us do it." Both children returned to their base state, while doing the respective steps of the Metamoran fusion, pulling it off perfectly. The enemy subject in turn saw a child somewhat larger than the 2 present and went to attack him, but was easily dodged. He punched him, causing the subject to fall against the snow, swallowing it all. Gotenks said, "Tada! The great Gotenks makes his presence. Carrot head. Today is your end." The subject stood up, trying to land a blow, but was stopped by a hand of the Saiyan hybrid fusion. Gotenks sent him to the ground with one punch to proceed to fire ki blasts, erasing the enemy subject in turn from existence. Gotenks did poses. "That is what you get for messing with the great Gotenks. Now, I will go with the others." The Saiyan fusion of 2 hybrids quickly flew to the nearest energy, which was that of Majin Buu and Kid Buu. A Namekian could be seen dodging another Namekian with immense ease. Damaku said, "Die." The older Namekian punched Piccolo in the face, who did not move a single second. Piccolo said, "You will never change, right?" Damaku said, "Never. I will conquer the world and finish off that Son Goku boy." Piccolo said, "What a stupid plan, and let me tell you, Son Goku is no longer a boy. He is an adult who became millions of times stronger. Nobody cares about you." Damaku said, "Then I will start finishing off the humans to attract his attention." The oldest Namekian went to where the closest people were, trying to carry out his previously spoken words, but the Namekian, using his ability to extend his arm, brought him back. Piccolo said, "I was going to let you live for being weak, but honestly you are dangerous to humans." The triple fusion Namekian simply charged a key sphere, hitting Damaku directly, making him disappear. Piccolo said, "You forced me." Then the Namekian felt a presence approaching him. It was a bald subject he remembered perfectly. Nappa said, "Well, look at this. It is the Namekian I exterminated. It would be a shame if I killed you again, do you not think?" Piccolo said, "Another bug. What do you want?" Piccolo pointed at the key of Vegeta. "Just go over there. You will find him if you go fast. He is fighting. Take advantage of that." Nappa said, "Well, look at this. You no longer hold a grudge against me." Ha! Piccolo walked away. I simply do not care about you. The newly revived Saiyan just made an annoyed face, but his priority was the prince, so he listened to the words of the Namekian, heading quickly in the direction pointed out to him. An explosion could be seen in a somewhat desolate place. It was Cell who took no damage at all from those attacks. He rose up and punched Tien Shinhen, leaving him seriously injured given the huge differences in power. Then he went to Yamcha, kicking him, leaving him in his characteristic pose on the ground, but miraculously still alive, because Cell did not attack to kill. Then he went against Krillin, who was at ground level. Cell simply went and grabbed him by the head, applying slight pressure. Cell said, "But I will finish you right here." The bio-android simply pressed a little more, making Krillin scream in a suffering manner due to the unbearable pain. Android 18 was just shocked. She was still traumatized by everything that happened, but upon hearing the screams of her husband and seeing him suffer, she came to her senses and lost her fear for a few seconds. She went quickly, and without Cell noticing, he received a punch to the stomach, making him let go of Krillin, who was very hurt. Cell said, "Damn you, I will finish you too." 18 said, "I might be afraid of you, but if you mess with my husband, do not expect any mercy." Android 18 and Bio-Android Cell started fighting evenly, because the android increased her power over time, while Cell stayed with the same power he had before dying. The android gave an uppercut to the stomach, knocking the wind out of the Bio-Android, then a kick to elevate him, and a hammer blow, making him fall to the ground. Once she was meters in the air, she fired ki blasts at Cell, causing him damage. He got up very angry because he was losing, but in a burst of rage and anger he brought out the same power he used against Gohan in their fight, which rivaled the Super Saiyan 2 of that time. The bio-android hit 18, making her bleed from her forehead, and then grabbed her by the neck with his tail. Cell said, "You have great power, perhaps I should absorb you again." Then the bio-android punched her in the stomach, making her fall to the ground badly injured. Cell stood in front of her, making his absorbing tail expand with the intention of absorbing her. The android became paralyzed again, due to the fear she felt upon seeing the same limb going to absorb her. Cell launched his tail, but it would not move. Someone had grabbed it, stopping it from moving. A subject who had just arrived and easily stopped Cell said, "It is not very nice of you to mess with my little sister." A small pink subject could be seen hitting and humiliating another. It was Kid Buu, giving Majin Buu a beating. Kid Buu prepared an attack to finish off the fat Buu, and the earth along with him. But someone kicked him in the face, preventing that. The newly arrived subject, who was Gotenks, said, "You are horrible. You have an ugly face." Then Kid Buu, upon recovering a bit, threw many punches at Gotenks, who was in his base state. Kid Buu grabbed him by the head and bit it, making Gotenks scream. Gotenks said, "Ouch, what is wrong with you?" He quickly went to Super Saiyan Phase 3, making Kid Buu step back, and then he grabbed his head first too and bit him in the same way, making expressions of pain. Gotenks said, "You deserve it, frog face." Then Kid Buu tried to punch Gotenks again, but it was easily blocked as he had great strength. Gotenks was using him as a ping-pong ball with his speed and strength, humiliating and frustrating the pink demon. He got angry and tried to absorb Gotenks, but knowing what he could do, and remembering what happened with Super Buu years ago, they did not act overconfident and fired many ki blasts at Kid Buu. Then Gotenks released some things from his mouth. They were ghosts, which numbered 7. Gotenks said, "Guys, get him." All the kamikaze ghosts headed towards Kid Buu, who was already weak from the attacks of Gotenks. Once making contact with his ghosts, he blew up in a Buu-like manner, and thus was disintegrated again, finishing him and eliminating him. Gotenks said, "Ha ha ha, you were just an ugly pink girl. Let us see who is next." Then their fusion ran out because they used up their time. Trunks said, "That was fun." Goten said, "Yes, we have to keep helping." They both left that place, heading to another location, which was a city, because someone was causing destruction. Meanwhile, Majin Buu was entertained by a small caterpillar. He just watched how it moved and stretched, while making its way extremely slowly, which captivated the attention of Majin Buu. Vegeta, Zeno, and Gohan could be seen having difficulties against Broly, who was using new tactics, but was getting stronger and stronger. Then Broly, using both forearms, hit both Vegetas, making them fall to the ground. Then he went against Gohan, who was just fleeing and dodging by pure miracle. Suddenly he caught up to him and punched him in the stomach, knocking the blood, wind, and saliva out of him, and then kicked him, sending him meters away. Without observing, both Vegeta and Vegeta Zeno charged a final flash against Broly Zeno, who took both attacks head-on, causing him great damage. After an explosion and smoke screen, the subject could be seen annoyed and angry, doubling his power by expelling it all. Then he grabbed both Vegetus by the head, smashing them together, and then dragged them against the ground for some meters, to then elevate them and fire an Omega blaster, hitting them directly, and both falling unconscious without their transformations, only being in their base state in critical conditions in their bodies. The subject went against them, but Gohan used the Galactic Donut attack, trapping Broly, who easily broke them, walking towards him, who was extremely weak, and his body was completely at its limit. Broly Zeno said, "Is that all? Naturally, trash will always be trash, and you will die here." Gohan said, "I will not die. It does not matter if my body is completely destroyed, my desire to fight will lift me up, because it is very great, and after that, I will defeat you whatever happens." The older hybrid Saiyan drew more power from somewhere he did not know. His anger boosted absolutely all his abilities, and thus with his state and body at the limit, he prepared a technique he was taught many years ago. It was the Masenko, which he charged with all his energy, trying to hurt him and hopefully kill him. Then someone else arrived next to him with 2 fingers on his forehead. It was Piccolo, who, since he finished his fight, had been charging his attack. Piccolo said, "Come on Gohan, bring out your true power." Both shouted in unison, "Special Beam Cannon, Masenko." Their attacks headed towards Broly, who just waited for them cautiously. Raditz could be seen attacking the humans in the city, killing some, and wounding others, but suddenly someone kicked him, making him crash against a wall. It was a girl in a fighting outfit. It was Videl, who was protecting whoever she could. Then Raditz came out from where he crashed, very angry, because that blow hurt him. Raditz said, "Who dares?" Then he saw that the only one standing in the middle of the street was a girl with short hair, looking intently at him. Raditz said, "A human." Videl said, "Who are you and what do you want?" Raditz said, "I owe you no explanations. Now tell me where the Namekian is." Videl thought to herself, he must be referring to Piccolo. Raditz said, "You will not say anything? Fine." Then the Saiyan charged at the girl, who barely dodged the attack, because she started flying. Raditz was surprised because humans were not supposed to be able to fly. Videl fired key spheres from the air, which impressed the Saiyan, who narrowly dodged them. They were both on the same level. Raditz had more stamina, but Videl was stronger because she never stopped training and controlled her ki much better. Thus both had a fight, which Videl was dominating due to her wide range of abilities, because Raditz fought like an animal. Then the girl hit him with an uppercut to the jaw, making the Saiyan fall. Videl said, "Leave, and never come back." Then Raditz stood up and charged an attack heading towards Videl, which she narrowly dodged. Then, taking advantage of his distraction, she punched him in the stomach, knocking the wind out of him. He went to finish her off, but Videl quickly got up, headbutting him, making the nose of Raditz bleed. Both kept fighting strength against stamina, and lasted a while, until 2 short subjects arrived. They were Goten and Trunks, who stood next to Videl. Goten said, "Hello Videl. Who is he?" The human kicked the Saiyan, making him step back, and then turned to look at the children. Videl, tired and hurt, said, "Finish him. He is killing people." The pureblood Saiyan saw the newly arrived children, and one seemed immensely familiar to him. Raditz said, You have the same hair as my father, and my brother Kakarot." Trunks said, "Did you hear that? He said brother and Kakarot. That is what my dad calls your dad." Goten said, "It is true. Who could he be?" Trunks said, "Hey you, mop hair. Who are you?" "My dad is Prince Vegeta." Raditz said, "What? It cannot be." Trunks pointed at Goten, "And his dad is named Kakarot." "Well, that is what my dad calls him." Goten said, "So are you my uncle?" Raditz said, "No, it cannot be. How is it possible? Damn Kakarot. He keeps living with this stupid race. Fine. Since you are a disgrace, I will have to finish you off." He launched himself at them. Goten said, "Darn, I wanted to get to know my uncle, but he is a bad person." Trunks said, "Same here, I never got to know my uncle either. I do not know if I actually have one, but we have to finish him off." Videl said, "He is a bad person." Videl said, "Look out." Then Raditz was about to land his blow, but ki blasts from both children finished off the subject, who was disturbing the peace and killing innocent people. Videl said, "That was close." And Gohan, they both felt the energy, and his was weak. Goten said, "He is weak. I feel his ki." Trunks said, "It is true. He is with Piccolo." Videl said, "There is no time to lose. Take me there." Trunks said, "Are you sure? This is dangerous." Videl said, "Do it now." Both children got scared and obeyed. The reason they were taking her was because if she went on her own, she would not arrive fast enough. Towa could be seen having finished torturing Goku Zeno, leaving him on the ground as he could not defend himself, being paralyzed with magic. She drew a circle on the ground, appearing where the presences of the previous subjects were, appearing in front of the blue-haired woman, scaring her. Bulma, upon seeing her, hugged Violetta and tried to run. Her parents had stayed behind because they could not run as much, and Bulma left to save herself and get away due to being pregnant and having Violetta. The scientist, upon trying to leave, was paralyzed by Towa, who just approached and grabbed Violetta, who was just very scared, not understanding anything. Towa, once having Violetta in her arms, who started crying out of fear, only got a little annoyed by the noise. Towa said, "I will have to teach you manners, little girl. Now you will live with me." The demon grabbed her staff and pointed at Bulma with the intention of finishing her off, but upon sensing she was pregnant, she lowered her staff. Towa said, "I am also a woman. I do not kill pregnant women. But once you are alone, I will finish what I started today. Be careful. You will not have another chance." The demon used her staff, creating a portal on the ground, positioning herself in it, and together with Violetta, they left that place, leaving Bulma alone, who could only observe everything, unable to move, starting to cry due to fear and helplessness of not being able to do anything about the kidnapping of Violetta. Someone with short black hair could be seen holding the tail of Cell, who wanted to absorb 18. Cell said, "Number 17. Then Android 17 cut off his tail with one hand, and then kicked him, breaking his arm, and then kneed him, sending him flying into some rocks. The newcomer went to his sister, who was still paralyzed. 17 said, "Are you okay?" Android 17, seeing that his sister was only stuttering a little, saw the severe trauma the android left her by reliving that moment again, so he walked angrily towards the bio-android, who was just getting up, very hurt. Cell said, how are you so strong?" 17 said, "You have been dead a long time. You are outdated." Then 17 kicked Cell, running him through, who just vomited his characteristic blood. Then with a kick he ripped off his head and pushed him to the ground. He started to regenerate and became complete, as good as new but weaker. 17 said, "Then I will have to pulverize you." The bio-android tried to escape with his instant transmission, but his hand was pulverized, and then he was due to the constant attacks of the newly arrived android, and thus finishing off Cell to then go help 18, who was just recovering, but upon seeing Krillin, she went quickly to help him. Kibito could be seen going to Goku Zeno, who could not grab his Senzu bean due to the persistent pain caused by the demon. He healed him and quickly touched Kibito on the shoulder, and teleported next to Bulma, who was just crying. Goku Zeno said, "Bulma, are you okay?" Bulma sobbed, "No, they took her." Goku Zeno resigned said, "The important thing is that you are okay. Kibito, please take care of her. I will go fight. There is still someone powerful on Earth." Kibito said, "Go. I will put her in a safe place." The Zeno Saiyan teleported, disappearing from the place. Kibito said, "Bulma, let us go. I will take you off the planet." Bulma said, "No, take me back to the Capsule Corporation." Kibito said, "What for? You are not safe there." Bulma said, "I killed Dabura with my robots. I saw it on my cameras. There is no danger. But I will not go for that. I will do something that will end all of this in a moment." Kibito said, "What are you planning?" Goku Zeno could be seen appearing meters away from the current main fight. The maximum power attack from Gohan and Piccolo could be seen having hit Broly Zeno, which damaged him a little. But after that he went against them, kicking each of them. He charged another Omega Blaster, trying to annihilate them, but it was deflected by a Kamehameha from Goku Zeno. Broly Zeno said, "Kakarot." Goku Zeno said, "This is as far as you go, Broly." The Saiyan went to his maximum transformation, starting to attack Broly from medium distance. Then he threw his bag of Senzu beans to where Gohan and Piccolo were. The latter was confused, seeing a Goku use a strange transformation. They both ate a bean, becoming as good as new. Piccolo said, "I am better. Let us fight, Gohan." Gohan said, "No, Mr. Piccolo. Not yet. There are still people who need beans." The hybrid left that place, going to where both Vegetas were just regaining consciousness. Piccolo said, "To Vegetas, what is going on here?" Gohan handed them both a bean. "Let them explain it later." Then both stood up, abruptly knocking Gohan down. Vegeta Zeno said, "Piccolo." Piccolo said, "Vegeta." Vegeta said, "What do you want?" Piccolo said, "I am confused." Vegeta said, "It does not matter. There is someone I must pay back for every single blow received today." The Saiyan Prince shouted, and went to Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. The other Saiyan Prince went to his maximum transformation. Piccolo said, "What is that transformation?" Vegeta Zeno said, "It is Super Saiyan Phase 4. Vegeta said, "Mine is stronger." Vegeta Zeno said, "I will have to confirm that." Gohan said, "Go help." Then a drop of sweat appeared on both princes as they realized they were arguing in a moment of pressure, so both went at high speed, kicking Broly Zeno in the back. Goku Zeno took advantage of that and hit him with a red Kamehameha which was times 10, hitting him directly, causing injuries to Broly. Then 3 people could be seen arriving. They were gotten Trunks and Videl. Videl said, "Gohan." He heard his name, and quickly went to her, hugging her, and seeing she was hurt, so without hesitation he gave her a Senzu bean, healing her. Gohan said, "I am glad you are okay." Videl gave him a kiss. "And you to me, my love." The older hybrid Saiyan just blushed a lot receiving the kiss, while both little boys who were nearby just watched the great fight taking place. Trunks said, "Look at that Goten." Goten said, "Yes, it is a great fight." Trunks said, "Let us do it again." The middle Saiyan, son of Son Goku, just nodded, and they both did the fusion, succeeding again. Gotenks tried to go, but was grabbed by the foot by Gohan. Gohan said, "Wait, I will go with you." Piccolo said, "Me too. The more of us the better." Gohan said, "Videl, please leave. You are in danger here." Videl said, "I will not go that far. I need to know that my daughter still has a father." Gohan said, "I will be fine. I will be back in a moment." Quickly, all 3 went to the battlefield while Videl positioned herself behind some rocks. Both Goku and Vegeta Zeno, as well as the Vegeta of this place, could be seen fighting against that subject, who was very powerful. Then Broly Zeno punched Goku Zeno, knocking the wind out of him, to then use both Vegetas as a bat, hitting the second mentioned Saiyan, and thus everyone falling to the ground. Then Gotenks, in Super Saiyan phase 3, released his kamikaze ghosts, confusing Broly Zeno, who only watched as they stuck their tongues out and insulted him. He got annoyed with them, crushing them with both hands. Then Piccolo used his multi-image technique, charging a special beam cannon, making the subject not know which was real. Then Gohan fired ki blasts, also overwhelming Broly Zeno with so many things at once. This irritated him and made him expel power balls from his entire body, hitting them and making them take cover. Then, using the instant transmission of Goku Zeno, he and both Vegetas appeared above the head of Broly Zeno. All 3 delivered a hammer blow at the same time, causing great damage to him who was just holding his head. Then everyone went against Broly Zeno, who was hurt, but still maintained his power. Gotenks Super Saiyan 3 Ultimate, Gohan Piccolo Goku, and Vegeta Zeno Super Saiyan 4, and Vegeta Blue Evolution against Broly Zeno, who had gigantic power. Everyone was having an even fight, some taking hits but countering with another partner. They went on like this for a few minutes, until someone with an incredibly imposing voice made everyone stop. The subject with a purple aura, who was very irritated, said, "Who dares to pose as a god?" Moments before, Bulma could be seen arriving with Kibito at the Capsule Corporation. She quickly ran to a room which was almost falling apart, but she knocked down that wall with a kick, because it was about to fall. That woke someone up, who got up incredibly annoyed. Kibito thought to himself, so this is where he was. Then someone got up who was the god of destruction, annoyed, irritated, and angry. The first thing the scientist did was shout and speak to Bills. Bulma said, "Lord Bills, there is someone who is calling himself God of Destruction, and is causing destruction with that name." Bills said, annoyed, "Nobody may hold that title but me. Tell me where he is." Bulma said, "Feel the power. They must be there. You will see him when you arrive." Bills, rising up with an irritated face, said, "Today I will destroy someone." Then the god disappeared from there, appearing meters above where everyone was fighting against a subject. Kibito said, "Why did you lie to him?" Bulma said, "Did we have a choice? Take me there. I need to see what is happening. My patio and part of my house are destroyed." Present time. The subject with a serious and angry face said, "Who dares to use my title?" It was the most powerful god of destruction of the 12 current existing universes. Vegeta said, Lord Bills." Bills, with his hands behind his back, said, "I will repeat it only one more time. Who is pretending to be a god of destruction?" Vegeta thought to himself, it must have been the idea of Bulma. "Woman, you are a genius." He pointed at Broly. "It is him." Then Gotenks, Piccolo, Gohan, and Vegeta quickly moved from where he was, while Vegeta and Goku Zeno did the same. They did not know who he was, but seeing their faces they followed their actions. Broly Zeno said, "God of Destruction. I like that name. Come to think of it, it suits me well." "Ha ha ha." Bills said, "You have dug your own grave." Then Broly went at full speed against Bills, landing a punch at his maximum power. This created a shockwave which moved everyone around. But the impressive thing is that they saw the punch of the subject was stopped with one hand without him flinching from it. Broly Zeno said, "Impossible." Quickly Bills punched him in the face, knocking some teeth out of the green-haired subject, and then gave him several elbow strikes in the back. He tried to counterattack, but he could not see him at any moment. He expelled a lot of ki trying to hit him, but when they got close to Bills they disintegrated due to the destructive energy. Bills continued humiliating the subject, now being on the floor, almost dead, almost without power, without energy, and almost without vital energy. He was on the verge of death upon confronting the god of destruction. Bills, extending his hand, said, "Before creation comes destruction." Before the god of destruction annihilated him from existence, with a Hawkeye a portal appeared below the body of Broly, taking him out and disappearing, avoiding being killed by Bills the Destroyer. The god, upon seeing that symbol and energy, knew who they were. Bills said, "They are demons. Interesting." Then he went down to where everyone was tired and hurt. 1817 Krillin along with Tien Shinhan and Yamcha also arrived. At the same time Bulma and Kibito approached them. Bills said, "I hope you have a great banquet ready for me for fixing your problem." Vegeta Zeno said, "What? You arrived at the very end, and show up as if nothing. You could have prevented all of this." Goku Zeno said, "Wait Vegeta." Then the god hit them both on the head, making them lose their Super Saiyan Phase 4 transformations. Bills said, "You have guts to talk to the god of destruction like that, but I do not forgive." Then a light appeared. It was a short girl. She was the Supreme Kai of Time. Kranoa said, "Wait Lord Bills. Forgive them this time. They are time patrollers. They are my best men." Bills looked at her. "Long time no see, Kai of Time." Kranoa bowing said, "It is very nice to see you again, god of destruction Bills." Bills said, "Control these guys. There will not be a next time." Then Kibito started healing all the injured. Moments later, Capsule Corporation. Absolutely everyone present could be seen drinking tea and eating cookies made by the mom of Bulma, who already had them made. Vegeta said, "Let me see if I understood. There is a king of the demon realm, whose name is Mechikabura, and he came looking for a power, sending his henchmen." Piccolo said, "And the only thing he took was Violetta." Goku Zeno, looking downcast, said, "Yes, I am sorry. I could not save her." "Whose daughter is she?" Bulma said, "She is the daughter of Goku from this reality." Vegeta Zeno said, "And where is that idiot?" Bulma said, "Both he and 21 went to see the Omni King due to a summon." Goku Zeno said, "Who is 21? Vegeta said, "She is the partner of Kakarot in this reality. She is an android." Kranoa said, "If Mechikabura wants the girl, it is not for a good reason. We have to go to the demon realm to get her." Goku Zeno said, "With Lord Bills on our side, I do not think we will struggle much." Bills said, "Wrong." Kranoa said, "Lord Bills cannot leave to another timeline or another reality. Even though Bills would be more than enough, he cannot intervene in addition to being a neutral being." Bills said, "How perceptive you are, Kai of Time." Vegeta said, "Then we must go immediately." Then a tube-shaped light appeared, and 4 beings arrived. They were with Shin Goku and 21, all being amazed, and seeing how everything was almost destroyed, as well as the wall of the Capsule Corporation, thus revealing another like him and another like Vegeta, just like all his friends, eating. Then 21, quickly breaking free from everyone, arrived at high speed to where they were. 21 said, "What happened? Where is Violetta?" Bulma, touching the belly where she had her daughter, said, "They took her. I am sorry 21. I could not do anything." Then 21, upon hearing the news, began to raise her power gigantically. Her eyes turned red while her aura became red. Everyone who sensed divine ki could feel the gigantic power that woman was bringing out. Whis, with his staff, pointed at everyone who was inside the Capsule Corporation, transporting them to where they were. Once they were alone, the android expelled a power which left her in her human form, red eyes, reddish aura, and an expression of extreme anger. She was about to expel a power that would completely destroy everything around, but was knocked out by Whis on the orders of the god of destruction. Goku, clenching his fists in anger, said, Violetta." Bills said, "Whis, she awakened the doctrine, did she not?" Whis said, "Of course." Bills said, "Fascinating. I did not think she would awaken it so soon." Gohan, hugging him from the side, said, "Dad, I am sorry. We did not know the truth until the fight ended." Goten said, "Yes Dad, we will go get her. I know she is okay." Then someone arrived. It was a bald subject who was tired from running for a long time. Nappa said, "Vegeta, prepare for your end." Then he saw there were 2 leaving him confused. Without thinking, both Saiyan princes with a key sphere ended the life of Nappa. Both said, "Pathetic." The scene remained gloomy. Some mourned the kidnapping of Violetta, already thinking how to go get her. Son Goku walked and carried 21, who was unconscious. He just looked at her and walked to lay her down on the most comfortable piece of furniture left. Goku, looking at the face of 21, said, "This will not stay like this. Violetta, Mom and Dad are coming for you."